What is going on, everyone? We're here. We're live for another Monday evening quarterback. And luckily, it's not just me this time trying to basically argue and have the conversation with myself. We're joined again by Jeremy. What's up, Jeremy?
What up? What up? Let's talk some football. I left Ryan hanging last week. He's just too toxic. I can't stream with him every week. But I'm back now. I just needed a 1 week break. That's all. Just
Jeremy wanted to go talk about like old toys and shit like that. That's what Jeremy decided to do. Now I know you guys are missing Robert as well. Robert will be back starting next week. He obviously is a really busy guy, does a lot of things. So has a little scheduling conflict the past 2 weeks. He will be back next week for some Monday evening quarterback talk. But
yeah,
dude, this week was crazy.
It was crazy. It was crazy. And yeah, I mean, there's just a lot to talk about. So I enjoy just kind of I did spread a lot of positivity last week on Monday. Really upset Ryan. He was not happy with me. Talking about the things we love and spreading a positive message, which is what Geeks and Gamers stands for. But Ryan was like, I will not be associated with Geeks and Gamers if you do that again. So I was like, all right, I'll be back so we can bitch about stuff. So we're here.
Yeah, exactly. That was really going off brand for us. That was very, very off brand, and I was not a big fan of that. But I see people talking in the chat about the Raiders and the Raiders signing DeShaun Jackson. Well, at the rate that they're losing players based on criminal offenses, I don't know if DeShaun Jackson is the best way to go. But there you have it. DeShaun Jackson is going to be a Las Vegas Raider. And based on what happened this week to them, it sounds like they could use the help. That was one of the more shocking ones of the week for me. The Raiders have played so well.
There was a lot of shocking stuff this week, though. That's the problem. My bad.
Oh, there really was. But the fact that, the Raiders lost to the Giants, and the Giants are a fairly pathetic team, although we did see them give the Chiefs problems the week before. Not that that's saying much. Literally any team that has a pulse gives the Chiefs problems at this point. Yeah. But the Raiders, with a lot of things distracting them between John Gruden and now, of course, the Henry Ruggs situation, they fall to the lowly Giants at the Giants, of course. What was your take on that game? Did you get to see any of it? And what do you think everything else had an effect on it?
I didn't pay much attention to that game. I mean, obviously I had Red Zone on, and but I don't remember that one getting featured a lot, or maybe I was just watching other games when that one was going on. I don't remember that one getting featured a lot, and I really wasn't paying much attention to it because I don't really care about the Raiders, and I didn't have any fantasy tied to that either. So that's another reason where I really wasn't focused in on it. What is that now?
So the Raiders just today, actually, let me see if I can find this story. It just happened a couple hours ago. Now the Raiders are really run out of 2021 first-round picks. They just released Henry Ruggs after he killed someone, and then now they've released their cornerback after he was on on Instagram Live or something like that, and was threatening someone with a firearm.
Oh, wow.
So
what the hell, man? They're just falling apart. They're imploding right now. My goodness. But the worst thing that's happened is that John Gruden said some mean words 10 years ago. That is easily the worst thing that's happened to the Raiders, from what I've been told. They don't want to talk about Henry Ruggs that much. They don't want to talk about all these other things. But John Gruden saying mean words 10 years ago, probably the most dangerous thing we've ever dealt with in the history of existence.
Yeah, and speaking of the Raiders and all of their problems between John Gruden, between Henry Ruggs, now out of the league, just a couple hours ago, Las Vegas Raiders cut 2020 first-round cornerback Damon Arnett after video with death threats. So as I said when we heard about the Henry Ruggs incident, you can take the Raiders out of Oakland, but you can't take Oakland out of the Raiders. And this is a very Oakland thing. The Las Vegas Raiders have waived second-year cornerback Damon Arnett, a first-round pick in 2020, after a video surfaced this weekend of him making death threats while brandishing firearms. Doesn't get much more ghetto than that. Arnett, 25, had been on injured reserve since October 9th. He's also facing lawsuits stemming from a Vegas car accident last October. Not a good time for Raiders players. Very painful decision, said Mike Mayock. We spent significant time, effort, and resources trying to help him in all aspects of his life. There have been a series of bad decisions over the last year or so, but we cannot stand for a video of Damon with a gun threatening to take a life. The content is unacceptable. Contrary to our values, and our owner, Mark Davis, has been very clear and very consistent. This is not how we will conduct ourselves. So there you go. Now your 2 first-round picks from 2020, Ruggs and Arnett, are no longer with the team in less than a week. What's your take on this, Jeremy?
More of the same. I mean, the Raiders are, the Raiders. They've always been like this. That's not surprising. Nothing's changed. They're going to continue to be like this. And, and again, I don't think everybody on the team deserves, what I think should happen to them in terms of, them just continuing to spiral out of control. Obviously, there's some good players on that team, some good people, but from a team standpoint, what they did to John Gruden, I have no sympathy for this team whatsoever. I just want to see them continue to fall apart because of how they treated John Gruden and the nonsense. And maybe he's going to file a lawsuit. I'm not really sure, how that's going to play out, but I view this as more karma for them. So it's just going to continue to spiral out of control. Bad leadership. You made bad decisions from the top. Not surprising at all. Hopefully it continues to spiral out of control for them because they don't deserve anything other than bad shit to happen to them. Fuck them.
Yeah, and I think Gruden, I don't know if he'll file anything or not, because honestly, he probably negotiated it that way so that he walked away with tens of millions of dollars from the Raiders from what was left on his contract. So
yeah,
maybe he stands pat, but maybe
not with them, but he could file something against the NFL though.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Fuck Roger Goodell and everything he did to try to manipulate that and take John Gruden down while protecting the owners, which I guess is his job. Doesn't mean he's any less of a fucking asshole.
Right.
And I did see someone say, really young players with a lot of money, and now they're in Vegas. What do you expect? I remember a lot of people brought that up when they thought about moving to Vegas. I think in any city, with the exception of maybe Green Bay, people can get into trouble if they want to find it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it is easier in Vegas. Not going to pretend like it's not, a different place there. But I do think, bad people will find ways to do bad things. Irresponsible people find a way to do bad things in any city in the NFL.
Yeah, no, absolutely. At the end of the day, you gotta have good leadership. You gotta have good leadership and hold people accountable. And if somebody can't control themselves, it doesn't matter if it's in Vegas or if it's in Atlanta or Miami or New York or wherever. If you can't keep yourself in check, you can't keep yourself in check. So, right now the Raiders have got a top to bottom issue with that team, though. Top to bottom.
Absolutely. Let's see. Anthony says, "Hey, Ryan and Jim, my birthday's on November 9th. Can I get a hell yeah? What team is DeShaun Watson going to trade to?" I don't know about DeShaun Watson, and I think he's not going anywhere. That's kind of my understanding now. So
yeah. Well, and definitely give you a hell yeah for your birthday. And I think he will be going to, if he goes to any team that's different than the Texans, it will more than likely be prison team. But I don't think that's going to happen either. But look at Aaron Rodgers.
It's over, right? The trade deadline's over, right? So
yeah,
he's not getting traded this year. Off season is the only time now. So we're not going to have to worry about it for quite some time, but I will give you a hell yeah for your birthday. My birthday's on November 15th. So mine's coming.
Nobody gives a fuck about your birthday, Ryan.
I do.
Nobody cares.
Spider Unlimited for $2 says moves to Sin City, team spirals out of control. Yeah. Not that the Raiders were ever in control, but yeah. No. The Matrix and Roadshow, member for 12 months, says, "My Cowboys did not play yesterday. Ignore it." Well, that's funny because that's who we're going to talk about next.
Shout out to Ezekiel Elliott for fucking up my fantasy team yesterday. My God, man. They were so bad. The Cowboys were awful. Awful.
The Cowboys got dominated, bent over and dominated at home against the Broncos. And look, the Broncos won a couple games in the beginning of the season without playing anybody. They have not looked good since. They looked like a different team when they went into Jarrah World and beat the brakes, as Yellow Flash would say, off of the Dallas Cowboys. And you probably paid a lot of attention to that game.
I did, because at any point, I don't give a shit if they win or lose. I don't care about the Cowboys, but obviously Ezekiel Elliott was my starting running back, one of my starting running backs, and I just needed him to do just a decent job, and he couldn't even do that. I mean, the team was just, I felt like even in garbage time, okay, at least in garbage time, when they would try to get, still then it didn't work for me. But just watching them, I mean, what was it, the third quarter? Into the fourth, they didn't have anything. They didn't have anything. And they got some garbage time touchdowns, but it made it look a little better than it was. But my God.
They were down 30-0. And then they got awful. 2 garbage time touchdowns.
Absolutely embarrassing. And how about them boys? Y'all still them boys? I mean, this is why people hate the Cowboys, because their fan base thinks they're going to win it every fucking year. They've been saying that since 15, 20 years. And so they always tend to show up in a big, this wasn't even a big moment, but they come up short in biggest moments. But this was a moment that, my God, man, like if you're a top tier team with a top tier quarterback and top tier, expectations, you can't do something like this. And it just shows the Cowboys are just not ready to take that next step.
Especially with Dak back, and it was, Dak back, guys, we're good to go. The problem is Dak's not a top tier quarterback. He's just paid like one. That's the real problem there. At times he looks great, but I think everything kind of has to go right for that to happen. And listen, they're still 6-2. They're still 6-2, still in control of that division for right now. And still going to be up there in the NFC when it's all said and done. You got a top loaded NFC between the Packers, the Rams, the Bucks, the who else over in the, God, I fucking hate when ads start to play on ESPN.
It drives me crazy when that happens. It automatically plays in your ear and messes you up.
Especially when I'm recording a video.
Yes.
But yeah, so it is a crowded NFC with a lot of top heavy guys. So it's not a good showing for the Dallas Cowboys, but it was just one of many weird. This was by far the weirdest week we've had in the NFL. And it's not even fucking close.
Well, me and you played head to head in fantasy this week, and both of us had terrible weeks, generally speaking. You know what I mean? Like neither one of us. It was a weird week.
Both of us have performed well below our expectations.
Yeah.
Let's pull it up and I can show everybody.
And I'm hoping that trend continues.
Ben Roethlisberger, the only reason I picked him up, and it pissed me off because I would have picked up Derek Carr. I would have picked up Derek Carr and played Derek Carr if I knew that Kyler Murray was going to be out. But I didn't. He was still questionable, but not inactive until the 1 p.m. games. It wasn't until about an hour in that happened. So I needed someone, either Kyler Murray's game slot or later, to be able to have that flexibility. And, of course, that ends up being fucking Ben Roethlisberger. Let's see what we got here. So right now, if things hold, if the projections hold, I should just barely beat you. But it's going to be a tight one. You had Patrick Mahomes, who's a bitch.
Dude, he was so bad. He's so bad right now. Like, look, he got me 10 points. Points.
Let's be real. Aaron Jones got me 5.
Yeah.
So those kind of offset each other. Christian McCaffrey came back, had a good, solid game, which I needed. Cooper Kupp is always going to be fucking solid. Justin Jefferson is always going to be solid for me. I got good wide receivers.
My bump came from the Patriots defense. That's where
that's the only reason you're still in it.
Yeah.
Because my defense did trash the fucking Falcons. The Falcons scored a lot on the Saints, and then the Patriots defense destroyed Carolina.
Yeah.
Wish I would have played Keenan Allen
I wish I would have played Patterson. So.
Oh yeah, he had a good game.
But I knew I was going to have a tough week because I have so many buys this week. My Tampa Bay boys, but that was not a problem. But Metcalf having the week off, so I had to put Thielen in there, and and that was terrible. It was terrible. What did you get me? 8 points. What Thielen get?
Where did Oh, there's Kyler Murray. I was like, where the fuck did Kyler Murray go? I didn't accidentally drop him, did I? But no, he's right here. This fuck couldn't play. But that's another good game to talk. It was just full of weird results.
Your camera's lagging up pretty bad. I don't know if you need to leave and come back.
This shit happened the other day for no fucking reason.
Yeah, fucking loser.
Right. Turn my camera off. So the Arizona Cardinals without Kyler Murray, just beat the fuck out of the San Francisco 49ers. Like at the 49ers. It's not like I think they're great or anything, but you would think with the backup quarterback in, that would give 49ers a chance to do something. No, they looked unstoppable even without Kyler Murray.
Yeah, I can't. I think Jay's got somebody from the Cardinals that dropped like
James
45. Conner. Yeah, he had like 45 fantasy points. It was insane. And yeah, they just went off. But I mean, again, you got overrated Garoppolo there in San Francisco. And that was like the whole day was weird. It was a weird day, which you would think that Patrick Mahomes would actually play good since everything was happening that wasn't normally happening. The only thing that was consistent was Patrick Mahomes continues to be terrible and pathetic. And so the whole day was weird. A lot of weird things were happening around the league. And Tom Brady's just sitting back watching it all happen on his off week. So
yeah, I'm sure he was lucky. He's thankful for this off week.
Yeah.
Another, again, a strange result. And this is probably the biggest one I think that we had this week was the Sunday night game between the Titans and the Rams. The Tennessee Titans, who I sat here last week when Derrick Henry underwent season-ending surgery, and I said, man, I think that changes the game for the Titans for me because Derrick Henry is so dominant and so important to what they want to do on the offensive side of the ball that I thought that injury, it was going to be really hard for them to replace him. And I said, I think that takes them from an AFC championship contender to somebody who's probably just going to be a playoff team. And maybe they completely changed their minds about that last night. That defense was tenacious and had Matthew Stafford on the ground a lot. And all of a sudden they were up 21-3 and the Rams could never recover.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's something we can take that's going to be consistent throughout the year, but obviously they showed up and showed out last week, but I'm going to need to see a few more games before I'm willing to say that they're going to be able to overcome Derrick Henry being gone because I'm sure that they changed up their game plan a little bit, and it's hard to kind of plan for stuff like that when you already have a lot of game film on how they're going to operate. So I'm going to need to see a few more weeks before I'm willing to say that they're still going to continue on their same path because I don't think they will. I don't think they will at all.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's 1 week. But it is at LA, which I thought was interesting. Adrian Peterson is back in the league. He didn't look great, but he did score a touchdown last night.
How old is he?
34.
Jeez, he seems like he's so much older. It's like Vince Carter, man. It seems like Vince Carter playing is what it feels like.
Yeah, that's true. I think Adrian Peterson's 34. I can take a look. He might be older, might be 36 or something. But I mean, the wear and tear that's on that guy, and I respect Adrian Peterson, and he's obviously been around the league a lot. Yeah, he's 36. 36 now. So that does make sense.
He seems older than Tom Brady. That's what's so weird.
Yeah.
He seems older than Brady.
He still looks good. And he's obviously fresh because he hasn't played. But yeah, so he's back there. They're definitely going to be using a lot of people. It's not going to be a bell cow back there anymore because you don't have your bell cow in Derrick Henry. But Matthew Stafford had 2 really bad plays. One where he was about to get sacked potentially for a safety, literally just threw the ball in the air, got picked, and it gave them the ball on the 2-yard line. And then the very next drive, they got the ball back. He threw a pick 6. So that was a big game changer for them and turned the entire feeling tide of the game from it being, I think, 7-3 to 21-3 immediately. So that's a big factor. But again, just a week of strangeness and weirdness. And the last weird one is the one we talked about a little bit with me, Aaron Jones, and you with Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Chiefs, Packers. And dude, the Chiefs are just trash.
They are bad. And again, this is what I've been saying. I feel like Patrick Mahomes is in that. I think Patrick Mahomes, again, it goes back to the Aaron Rodgers thing. Phenomenally talented. There's no doubt about it, man. The dude can do things that few people can do when he's, on the run and the throws he can make. Those things are all great. Those things are all wonderful. It's the same thing as the Steph Curry nonsense. Steph Curry does things that nobody else can do. They're amazing. It doesn't mean he's the best. He's never been the best. He never will be the best. And the same applies to Patrick Mahomes. The same as always applied to Aaron Rodgers. He's not the best in the league. He's just not. And here we are now where we're starting to see it. Now, I'll be honest, I fell for the Patrick Mahomes hype more than I fell for the Aaron Rodgers hype. I did, because he just was so fantastic for those few years, and it was such a young age. So even I bought into it a little bit, but then the more you start hearing like the media saying he's the best ever already, and I'm like, okay, slow the fuck down, slow down. Now here we are, you know what I mean? And so you're starting to see, once the league starts figuring you out, once you start having that massive contract, once you start having some time and you don't have all those pieces, because we've heard nonstop from the moment Tom Brady started winning in Tampa Bay, he's got a loaded team. He's got a loaded team. To this point, they're still saying that. They were never saying that about KC. It was always that Patrick Mahomes is the greatest player we've ever seen in the history of existence. And I was like, yeah, he had a loaded fucking team, a very loaded team with a veteran head coach who's been to Super Bowls and NFC championships, who's a really good quarterback coach. And so now we're seeing it right now. Patrick Mahomes, the shine is wearing off. The team doesn't have everything in place like they were. And this is what happens. This is where you tell who the really all-time greats are, who can overcome longevity. Patrick Mahomes is struggling really, really bad. They should be 4-5 right now. If Aaron Rodgers was playing that game, they would have been 4-5. They're lucky they're 5-4.
Jordan Love looked so bad, dude.
Ooh.
Like Jordan Love looked like he picked up a football for the first time this week.
Yeah.
It's really bad. And that's another conversation for the future of the Packers, because I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to come back after everything that happened in the offseason, after everything he's talking about this season. I don't know if Rodgers is going back there. But Jordan Love's not the guy. I think he's been there. It's not like he's a rookie. Jordan Love's been there for a few years now, and he sat behind Aaron Rodgers for a few years, and he does not look good in any way. And somehow they were still in that game. They were still in the game.
I didn't pay too much attention to it when Green Bay was on offense. Obviously, I paid attention to when Kansas City was on offense. But why didn't they utilize Jones more?
I don't fucking know. But you know why? Because Jordan. This is why every time I watch, Jordan Love is such a bad quarterback and such a fucking idiot that the Chiefs knew they could just blitz him and he wouldn't be able to pick it up and he wouldn't be able to make a decision. So they left Aaron Jones in there all the time to help block. Like, he almost never had a free release to do anything. He was blocking the vast majority of the game on passing plays. So, they were behind a little bit, but usually Aaron Jones gets a lot of work in the passing game with Aaron Rodgers in the screen game. They almost never used anything like that in this game because Jordan Love's so ineffectual. And there was one play where it was like 3rd and long for the Packers, and the Chiefs just brought like eight guys. They brought 8 guys on the blitz. You knew that there was going to be open people out there, but you got to get rid of it quick. And Jordan Love tried to like sidestep a guy and like get out of something when there's literally like 5 other guys who are about to tackle him. Even if he got out of that, it was just nonsensical. He looked completely out of touch. And man, it was bad. He did not look good.
Yeah, it was weird, man. But yeah, Kansas City dodged a bullet, and they should be 4-5 right now. And they could barely even beat a team without Aaron Rodgers with Jordan Love playing like this. That was bad. Kansas City is bad, and they are in danger of not making the playoffs. They are in danger of not making the playoffs this year. Even in a year where you have an extra team getting in and extra games and all of that, they still may lose. They still may not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But, Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. Greatest quarterback of all time. The Michael Jordan of quarterbacks, as Max Kellerman and ESPN have continued to say over and over again, which is the most ridiculous thing ever. I don't know if it's ridiculous as the Steph Curry hype a few years ago.
I think he's the Steph Curry of quarterbacks.
I agree with that.
I think he's the Steph, and that's still a guy who, at the end of his career, we might be looking at as an all-time great or something like that, but not in the argument for greatest player of all time, but somebody who did come in and was extremely talented and changed the game, and changed the way it's played in terms of downfield stuff and what quarterbacks are doing out there. Same way Steph did with kind of revolutionizing how far people were willing to shoot from the basket. and everything that happened
absolutely.
there. So I think that's a good comparison right there.
That is a good comparison. For once, Ryan actually did something that I can't criticize him for.
There you go. Mr. Text for $3. Is Ryan still beating his chest over the Purdue win? I mean, I guess a little bit. I'm a little upset they're not back in the top 25. After beating the number 2 and the number 3 team in the nation, you'd think that maybe they could get up there, but no, I guess that's not to be. That's not to be for my Purdue spoiler makers.
There's no good teams in college football this year except for Alabama and Georgia, and Alabama's not Alabama of usual. Like if Alabama's playing at a 10, like if you're just judging them at at a 10, this year's Alabama, based on Alabama's 10, is a 7.5, maybe an 8, but I would go 7.5. Like Alabama's just not up to par this year. But even at a 7.5, Alabama's still better than every team not named Georgia. Like there's nobody there's a massive drop off between Georgia, and then there's a massive drop off even to Georgia to Alabama. But then from Alabama to everybody else, there's still another massive drop off.
Where the hell did this just go? I just had here it is. I had the college football rankings pulled up, and then it disappeared. Now those are going to get updated, guys. We might as well fucking dig into college football right now. Yeah. So obviously there's going to be a little bit of shakeup in the college football playoff rankings when they come out tonight. I think they are supposed to come out in about an hour and a half. And the big shakeup will be, of course, Michigan State. Michigan State losing to my Purdue Boilermakers. You have to imagine that's going to drop them out of the college football playoff rankings in general when you're talking about those top 6. And who knows where they might go. But let's look at what they currently are. And I've got some projections on what some people think is going to happen. So Georgia and Alabama, they're going to stay right there at 1 and 2. Now, Michigan State and Oregon were your 3 and 4, with Ohio State and number 6 Cincinnati looking in. I think that Michigan State has to drop. Oregon has to go up. And Ohio State has to go up. The question will be, does Michigan State fall completely out of the top 6? Are they below Cincinnati? What do you think?
I think they will fall below Cincinnati, and they should, considering, they have a loss. And even though Cincinnati's trash, they are undefeated. So you have to, at least when you're talking about a fellow trash team, which Michigan State is another trash team. So, I mean, now you're comparing, apples to apples. So with Michigan State losing, they definitely have to drop below Cincinnati. And yeah. So, I mean, right now, if you're asking me what the top 4 is, it's Alabama, it's Georgia. The true top 4, Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Oklahoma. That's your true top 4 right there.
Yeah.
Because those are the best 4 teams based on talent, historical, relevance, because you have to bring in to account teams that have been there, universities have been there, teams that are prepared.
You put in Oregon over Oklahoma?
No.
After all the struggles Oklahoma's had this season?
Oh, well, I mean, again, who the hell's Oregon even played?
Well, we can go look at it right here, actually.
Yeah.
Let's go to schedules here.
Oh, I agree. OU sucks. I think they suck, but I give them. Yeah, they definitely. Cincinnati doesn't deserve to be in there. Cincinnati's trash. Cincinnati, like I was telling this to Ryan earlier before we went, Cincinnati couldn't even beat a bottom tier SEC team right now. They couldn't even you think Cincinnati could go to Auburn right now and beat Auburn? No. Do you think they could beat LSU and Death Valley? Do you think they could go to College Station and even be on the map with Texas A&M? Absolutely not. It would be an embarrassment.
So Oregon, really the only quality win is against, Ohio State, that second game of the season at Ohio State. So they beat Fresno, nobody.
Yeah.
Ohio State, a nobody. Arizona, they lost to Stanford. That's their only losses at Stanford. Then they beat Cal, beat UCLA, beat Colorado, beat Washington. They have Washington State, they have Utah, and they have Oregon State left. No big hitters or big things that are going to prove their record. Some okay teams, but nothing crazy. I'm not 100% sold. If Cincinnati doesn't move up to 5, that will tell you that the college football playoff, there's never any chance for Cincinnati to get in, ever. That's what that'll tell you. Because if they only drop Michigan State to 5, which I think is possible. I think it's possible.
It is
they only
possible.
do that.
They're not going to get, like, Cincinnati doesn't deserve respect, and they're probably not going to get respect.
Yeah. So, man,
they just don't deserve it. They just don't.
No,
they don't deserve to be
like
there.
Well, and the thing is, they have done everything that they can do, right? They increased their out of conference schedule. They had good out of conference games, and they've won all of them. And this is why I've always advocated for them expanding it. Like eight teams. It needs to be 8 teams, man.
You're always going to have, at the end of the day, you're always going to have, there's always going to be people that think they deserve to be in. There just always is. There's always going to be teams.
That's why 8 is perfect. You're still going to have people that think they're 9th and need to be in there.
At the end of the day, the 2 best teams in the country will have their opportunities to play each other, and that's Alabama and Georgia. Everybody else is irrelevant.
No, I don't give a shit about that. 8 teams is perfect. 8 teams, you can have all the big conference winners, right? No one feels like they're fucking getting left out for whatever. And then you can also have 2 or 3 teams from the SEC if that's the case. And then you can also, when you have a team like Cincinnati, you get like one outlier, like UCF that one year, right? You get this one outlier who has a great season. They can actually slot in there and have an opportunity.
They don't deserve it.
Listen,
I don't fucking deserve it. Alabama and Georgia have to go through the SEC gauntlet, and some fucking team that plays no fucking body gets to just sneak into the playoffs. Fuck that. Play a fucking real schedule.
You shouldn't be worried about it, right?
You absolutely should be worried about it because going through the gauntlet is tough for any team. So by the time you get to the end of the season, you've gone through the gauntlet and you have to play a team that hasn't faced any fucking body all year long. Like, that's not easy for any team.
If they're nobody, if they don't belong there, then they shouldn't be a problem, Jeremy. I think an 8-team playoff is the best way to do it. This is the playoff scenario is the way that all fucking champions are decided across all sports, right? Except for college football.
I was never in favor of the playoff to begin with, because the playoff happens every year. It's called the SEC. That's the playoff. That's it. So all the playoff is done. All the playoff is done is made it harder for SEC teams to win now, because you've added more difficult games for an already difficult schedule. There's a reason the SEC won like every fucking championship for like all those years, like a decade or more, because the SEC has the best conference, the best schools, the best athletes. And then you have some, like, look at Clemson. Everybody was hyping up Clemson because they won a couple of fucking championships. Guess where Clemson's at now? Nowhere to be fucking found. Nowhere, because they were cheap. They didn't play anybody. So by the time now again, Clemson had talent. I'm not going to say they didn't have talent, but by the time you got to the end of the season, who the fuck did Clemson play? Nobody. So you were healthy as hell. Meanwhile, everyone else is beat up because they have to play real teams all through so all that does, the expansion and adding more, is it brings everyone else closer. And I don't like that. Like, if you really want to earn it, schedule yourself to go to Death Valley once a year. Schedule yourself go to Tuscaloosa once. Just do it one fucking time.
But that's what I'm saying. So like a team like Cincinnati, right? They did improve their shit. They did everything they could. They played Notre Dame at Notre Dame, which I think Notre Dame is one of the most overrated fucking teams in history ever, always, every fucking year. But that's a big name that they went there to do that. They went there they got that in their schedule. So they did what you're asking them to do. And, it just fucking sucks for them. I've always thought 8 is perfect. That is the perfect scenario to have a college football playoff, because then you can have your people who have gone through your conference schedules. You can have 3 SEC teams if you want. And if there happens to be someone like this that, didn't have the strength of schedule, but still did everything they could to do it, then they actually do have an opportunity to show if they can stand up against the big boys. And if they can't, if they don't even belong there, shouldn't be a problem. They'll get fucking wrecked.
Well, I mean, I just think that there's, even when you're talking about outside of the top 8, there's still more qualified teams that deserve to be there than these schools that don't play any fucking body.
You'll always, like, there will never be enough where people don't think they should belong there.
Absolutely. So that's what I'm saying.
You could have 64 teams like the NCAA tournament, and there's still people that are like, we belong there, damn it. Like, that will happen. But I think for college football, And for the way the conferences are structured, I think that 8 is the perfect number. I've always thought 8 is the perfect number. I did an essay, and when I was a senior in high school, I did an essay about the BCS championship and why I thought we needed a playoff and why 8 teams would be perfect. But, you know.
Yeah, I mean, again, if they do to 8, it's fine. I mean, look, I was never in favor of the playoff to begin with, but we are here. It hasn't changed anything. SEC still continues to be relevant every year. And mostly, wins it every year, or at least every other year. But it's just frustrating when I see these schools that don't play anybody, and then they seem to think like, oh, we want Bama or we want Georgia. And it's like, no, you fucking don't. And you don't deserve to be there. Because you can schedule Bama and Georgia every year if you want. Since a fucking natty. If you really want Bama, why don't you just schedule Bama? Why don't you just do it? You'll make a lot of fucking money and you'll get your ass whipped. Come to Tuscaloosa once a year.
It's not quite that simple.
Well, I'm saying, though,
it's not quite that simple. But, like, now Alabama is a team. That first game of the season, it's always a tough out-of-conference opponent for Alabama every single fucking year, basically. So you can get on one of those sometime. But are they going to – here's the thing with Alabama, though. When they will schedule one, like, good out-of-conference team. They'll schedule, like, a Miami, if Miami's expected to be good. Of course, it's 5 years down the road. But then, other than the SEC conference, then they'll take fucking Alabama State or some shit for like an off week. Mm-hmm. So it's not quite as simple as, hey, just go down to Death Valley and schedule it. But they're trying at least. Yeah. Let me hit a couple of these super chats. Wolf Spain for $5. If you could replace Matt Ryan as quarterback, who would it be? At this point, I'll take Vic back. I
mean, I would literally take I would almost take Colin Kaepernick over Matt Ryan. That's how much I don't like Matt Ryan. I have zero respect for Matt Ryan. I think he's trash. I think he's always been trash. He's obviously respectable enough to be a starting NFL quarterback, but the fact that this motherfucker won MVP a few years ago, get the fuck out of my face. It's so embarrassing that he won MVP. It's so pathetic. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Matt Ryan is trash. All right. I would rather have Joe Montana come out of retirement at 85 years old or whatever the fuck he is right now to be my quarterback over Matt Ryan. Fuck Matt Ryan. He's garbage. I remember years ago, Matty Ice. Oh, he's the next Tom Brady. All this bullshit. Matt Ryan sucks.
Matty Ice fucking beat my Chicago Bears with like 7 seconds. This is like the first time people like started doing that shit after his Boston College days. Chicago Bears were at Atlanta. They were in control. They just gone up. There was like 5 or 7 seconds left. And the Falcons got the ball back on their own 20. And Matt Ryan threw this fucking dime to the corner to like the 35-yard line to set them up for a fucking field goal. And I will always remember that shit. And Matty Ice. Fuck that big tooth piece of shit.
I'll take Tim Tebow over Matt Ryan. There you go.
Let's not go that far.
There you go.
Let's not go that far. But yeah, they definitely need to find a replacement for him soon. He just does not. He's not mobile at all. He doesn't have much more time left. He doesn't have much more left in the tank, I don't think.
He's not like Matt Ryan's a decent guy. He's not a bad guy. You know what I mean? I just hate his guts, and I just don't like him. I don't like him as a quarterback. I've never respected him as a quarterback, and I know he's like a decent guy, and he's probably a really good teammate. You know what I mean? But I just don't like him as a quarterback. I just don't.
Yeah, he's frustrating. Whenever I've had a lot of Falcons players over the years because the Falcons had a good offense for quite some time, right? When they were going to the Super Bowl, all those things. So Devonta Freeman was like my running back for a long ass time. So I used to watch a lot of Falcons games. I have Kyle Pitts now, and it's just so frustrating to watch Matt Ryan sometimes on that team, but it is what it is. Ty Sloan for $5. Thoughts on Batman Arkham games? The graphics look dope. What are your thoughts on Batgirl, Nightwing, and Robin? Also, thoughts on Lakers losing.
That was such a good super chat. He threw the sports thing right in there.
So when it comes to the Arkham games, I love the Arkham games. If you want to talk about Gotham Knights, I'm hesitantly excited for Gotham Knights. I hope it's not woke as shit. As far as the Lakers, yeah, the Lakers are having a little bit of a rough go of it, aren't they? They're 5-5 to start the season. LeBron James has missed a lot of time. AD's always on the precipice of being hurt, so yeah, it's fun. I love it when the Lakers are struggling.
I think the Lakers will be fine. They've got a lot of egos there. They've got a lot of chemistry to figure out. They've got ball-centric players now with I think they'll figure it out. There's a lot of talent there. So I think the Lakers will be fine. And then I love the Arkham games. Arkham Asylum is my favorite. Just because it was the first one. I think City is objectively a better game. I just like Asylum more. I think there's some of the best games, of that generation for sure.
Johnny's asking who won the fantasy matchup. We don't know.
We don't know. It's close. It's close.
Listen, if Ben Roethlisberger shits the bed today, then Jeremy does. If Ben Roethlisberger has an okay game and does what he needs to do, I think I'll win. But
it's going to be close. So it all comes down to tonight.
Too, because my Bears are playing. So it's like I'm sitting there like I'm a Bears fan tonight. Ben Roethlisberger touchdowns.
I'm a Bears fan tonight, so
I hate that's so fantasy. And Jeremy, this is Jeremy's first year playing fantasy.
Yeah,
it makes a huge difference in how you watch games.
This is why I'm avoiding it all this time, because I don't like last night I was pulling for Mahomes to win. I'm like, I don't fucking want him to win. I want him to continue to lose. But
it just makes things interesting because so I'll be watching the Bears and I'll be rooting for the Bears to win, but I'll be rooting for a way for them to win. I want them to blow them the fuck out so they can just throw the entire time. I'll be rooting for a fumble from their running back instead of a pick. And then, of course, if they do get down, I want them to get stopped at the goal line. But if they score, I'm going to want them to score with Ben Roethlisberger. If a running back, that's going to be the worst. If fucking Najee Harris takes a handoff and runs the ball in for a touchdown, I'm going to be pissed as fuck because it might as well have been Ben Roethlisberger touchdown.
I'll be happy. I want Najee to go off tonight. Roll Tide, baby. But I'm happy I played fantasy. I'm happy I played fantasy. And, I think the plan is, and I'm going to be sharing a little bit more details tonight with our premium members on a premium stream. But, we went to Arizona this past week. We had a really good trip to Arizona, some really good opportunities for Geeks Gamers. And I can only imagine by next year at this time, if we're kind of set up in our studio, in Orlando, and we're we've got gambling going on and all that for fantasy or football or whatever, holy shit, man, it could be crazy. It could be crazy for us. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. I do enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure. Some Steelers fans, a lot of people saying Big Ben's done. Yeah, Big Ben his arm is done, but he ain't as good as he once was. But I need him to be as good once as he ever was. All right,
Keith.
I just need 1 week, a gap week, when Kyler Murray's bitch ass is nursing his ankle, fucking his twig ankles that he's got. I need Ben. I need Big Ben. I went to a Steelers Ravens game probably 5 years ago, something like that. And it had to be more than that, maybe 6 years ago. But it was right after Ray Rice had gotten in trouble for hitting his wife, all that shit. And we had tickets to go to Steelers Ravens game on Sunday night or Monday Night Football. And so I bought a Ray Rice jersey just to troll Steelers fans. And Ben Roethlisberger he threw 6 touchdowns that night. They got absolutely blown out. And every Steelers fan was just swearing at me the entire night in my Ray Rice jersey. But that's all right. It was worth it.
Dude, okay, check this out. I got to show you something. All right, this is what we got to do more of at Geeks Gamers. And I'm going to talk to everybody about this, okay? But, did you see this post from Barstool Sports with Jeff Bezos? Did you see this, Ryan?
I saw people talking about Jeff Bezos, but
yeah. So Leo is Mr. Steal Your Girl, and you see. She's all about some Leo right there, okay? That's a Barstool thing. Well, Jeff Bezos fucking responded.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Yes,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, I did see that shit. Yes.
That is awesome. So, yeah, man. Good stuff right there. Shout out to Barstool. Shout out to El Presidente, Dave Portnoy. We got his back. I stand with El Presidente. All the bullshit that he's going through right now. Fuck the mainstream media.
So Business Insider is contacting all of their sponsors, emailing all of their sponsors and linking the article they wrote and say, are you aware that this article is out there? We just wanted to know if you were going to continue supporting Barstool Sports with the knowledge that this is out there. They're actively attempting to take all their sponsors out. There's insider trading potentially going on because it looks like some people involved with Business Insider may have short sold Penn stock knowing that this was coming out. There's a lot of crazy shit going down, but one thing's for sure, these people just want to take Dave Portnoy down, and they'll try to do it in any way they can. They are scumbags. They are pieces of shit. The reporter deleted her entire Twitter history before this article came out, which is full of anti-Trump shit, mad that fucking Dave Portnoy interviewed Trump and is on Tucker Carlson, all that stuff.
Yep.
And he is under attack, but I think he's doing okay. I think a lot of people were sketched out initially, but he's doing exactly everything he should be doing and fighting it tooth and nail.
100%. 100%. So
I'm going to go try to buy some One Bite pizza tonight, actually.
Man, One Bite's so good. It's so damn good. I love the One Bite pizza.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't had it yet. If it's up to par, I'll say it. I'll give an honest review. Just like Dave Portnoy's Blaze Pizza review, it will be an honest review. Yeah, I see a couple people talking about the Kamaru Usman Kobe Covington fight. I know it's Money Evening Quarterback, but that was a great fight. Someone said Kobe got destroyed. I disagree. He fought really well, and Usman is just fucking legit. He is elite as fuck. Just up there. If he keeps up this pace, you're talking about one of the greats ever. He hasn't lost in the UFC, and he continues to look unstoppable. Kobe made him look somewhat stoppable. So I thought that was a really good thing.
I need to get further into UFC because we love Dana White, and we got some opportunities to maybe talk to some of those guys if we just cover it more consistently.
That's right. Yeah, and I mean every UFC video I make that's not Conor McGregor breaking his ankle doesn't do so well, but we still continue to put them out.
That's right.
But we're going to make it a little bit of a short one tonight. And get ready for this game because me and Jeremy got a big matchup. It's going to be a determining factor. This may end my fantasy season, even though I have the best team in the league. This may end my fantasy football season right here. I guess we'll just have to see.
I've only lost one game, and it was to Ryan. So if he wins, he's going to have that over me. He's my only 2 losses this year. You know, it was a really weird week though for both of us. Like it really was. Like my team underperformed. Ryan's team underperformed. It was a strange week, so it's going to be interesting how you got Big Ben and who?
I've got Big Ben and I have Deontay Johnson. So the wide receiver.
Okay, so honestly, so
good.
Even if Big Ben has a decent night, you're gonna need Johnson to come through too.
Deontay Johnson needs about 15 points.
Yeah, you need about 35 to 40.
I need to win in a certain way.
Yeah,
I need this game to go a certain way. And now that does make it easy. I mean, if I get one touchdown, right? If I get one 60-yard bomb from Ben Roethlisberger to Deontay Johnson, all of a sudden you're looking at that's like 15 points right there for Deontay Johnson. That's a bonus point for Ben. Like that could help me out a lot. I need a big play like that.
Yeah,
I guess we'll see.
I guess the question I always ask myself is, what position would I rather be in going in? Would I rather be in the position I'm in with I already have the points, they're done, or would I rather be in Ryan's position where he needs these guys?
You'd rather be in your position.
I don't know. I think I'd rather be in yours. Like you don't need a lot. Like I mean, I guess
it depends what it is. It depends who's going. Like for me, I picked up Ben Roethlisberger a couple minutes before the early games on Sunday.
Yeah. Like if that was Kyler Murray and you needed 20 points out of Kyler Murray, I'd feel pretty good about it.
Or if it was Cooper Kupp, right? I've had that a couple times this year where I needed Cooper Kupp, and Cooper Kupp's been phenomenal for me. He's the number 1 wide receiver in the league. It's why I drafted him. But but it's Deontay Johnson who is relying upon long balls, and it's a guy I haven't had on my team in Ben Roethlisberger who I think is washed. So
it'll be interesting.
I'll pull out my Big Ben jersey. All right, guys, but we are going to get going. Jeremy, you got premium going on tonight?
Premium tonight, Mario Kart, myself and Krista. And I might even play a little bit of Vanguard for our premium members just to show them what it's like. Because I really like Call of Duty Vanguard. So, but I'm going to give everybody a little bit of update on, what happened with Arizona and the opportunities we have facing us moving forward. A lot of good stuff for Geeks and Gamers, Sports Wars, everything. So I'll see you guys in a few hours. I will go ahead and tweet a link out to that premium. Now it'll be, unless you're a premium member, you won't be able to access it through the website, but I'll tweet that out. And we have a special guest tomorrow for Tuesday night's main event. I'll announce that tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. So good stuff all the way around.
Hell yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We will talk to you next time. Peace.
See ya.